Tonight on KVUE News at 5 o'clock, we are bringing you coverage of the Rolling Pines wildfire as it continues to burn in Bastrop County. It started yesterday afternoon outside Bastrop State Park in the same area as the 2011 Bastrop Complex fire. Crews are working to contain that fire, and our KVUE team is working to bring you the latest information as crews battle that fire and talking about how it's impacting people who live in Bastrop. Brian Mays, Dominique Newland, and Pamela Combe all in Bastrop this afternoon. We'll get to Dominique and Pamela in just a few minutes. Let's start with Brian, who is live in Bastrop State Park. Brian, describe for us what you're seeing there.
Well, Ashley, we're standing just west of where this all began yesterday at about 10:30 in the morning with that prescribed burn. Of course, it's now extended to more than 800 acres. Let's talk about the good news that we learned earlier this afternoon. Still no residential structures have burned in this fire. Still no injuries have been reported. But I had a chance to drive up Highway 21 just to our northeast to see some of the flames still burning there. We watched as a small fire became a pretty big flame over the course of about 15 minutes earlier. So there's still a lot of work to do, and I have to tell you, we watched the firefighters doing their job today, and it's amazing what they've done to keep this fire away from those structures. You could literally see homes and businesses just mere feet from where this line is, but yet all untouched at this time. So that's the good news. The bad news is it's not contained yet. Still the containment at about 30%. We expect that to go up significantly as we work through the evening hours tonight, but we are expecting a weather change, and they're also preparing for that here in Bastrop County today. Now, I mentioned Highway 21, which is again just to our northeast, and Dominique Newland has been there this afternoon checking out the scene as well. She joins us now live with the very latest from where that line of fire still exists this evening. Dominique?
Hey there, Brian. We are off of Highway 21 right now. This highway is actually now open to the public. We are now open, the highway is now open to the public. As you can see, drivers already taking advantage of that. If you go behind us, you can actually see that some smoke out there. That fire is still burning. Fire officials being sure to try to contain this Rolling Pines fire. But something new this morning that I do want to point out is Bastrop County Emergency Services have announced that some residents in the county are now able to return to their homes effective immediately, as well as utility services have been restored in all of the areas that have been evacuated. Now, do keep in mind, this is just for residents that live in northwest of Highway 21, such as Circle D Estates and KC Estates areas. Officials are holding off on allowing residents in the Pine Hills Estates loop to go back until 6 p.m. Now, fire officials are keeping the high wind gusts expected still in mind going forward.
Overnight and into tomorrow, we're probably going to have some pretty strong gusts and some pretty strong sustained winds in most of Bastrop County. So you're going to see some fire. You're going to see some smoke tomorrow. You're going to see the smoke plume move in a different direction. It'll be headed to the south rather than to the north. But I assure you that we will have firefighters and first responders on duty all night long tonight and all day long tomorrow.
Also, something to note this evening, Highway 21 roadblocks have been removed, but officials say if you don't need to travel on Highway 21, please don't at this time. And of course, officials are going to continue to track wind speeds throughout today going into tomorrow as those freezing temperatures are on the way, and we'll bring you the updates as we learn more. Reporting off Highway 21 in Bastrop, I'm Dominique Newland. Brian, back to you.
All right, Dominique, thank you very much for the update there from the front lines. Also, we have Pamela Combe here with us in Bastrop County. Dominique mentioned a lot of the families that were evacuated last night and into the early morning hours have now been able to return. And as of 6 o'clock tonight, most of those evacuated people will be able to return to their homes. Pamela Combe spent the afternoon speaking with some of those people. She joins us now with what they were saying this afternoon as this fire has seemed to be under control now for at least the last few hours. Pamela?
Brian, they saw smoke, fire, ash falling onto their lawns. And in moments like this, it's hard to stay positive, really. I mean, they've decided to ignore the negative comments, and that's exactly what Claire Wonderland told me. She remembers the 2011 fire in Bastrop County that scorched thousands of acres. She couldn't help but think that would happen again. She tells me that's exactly what she saw yesterday when she came out of her home.
It was a big column of smoke, and what I noticed when I came downstairs was that orange tint in the sky, or actually on the ground from shadows, and I knew then something wasn't right. So
that's when Wonderland and her husband packed up their RV and headed to the city. She says it's a horrible feeling leaving everything behind, not knowing if you'd come back to it. Wonderland is still uneasy given the fire is only 30% contained, but officials do say the fire is under control. For many Bastrop County residents, the evacuation order has already been lifted and many are already heading back home. Brian?
Pamela Combe live for us also here in Bastrop County. Now, we did mention earlier that weather change is being prepared for by the firefighters and those kind of fighting the flames still. They're getting ready for the winds to shift. Ashley, let me toss it back to you as you have an update on the forecast with Hunter Williams there. A lot of people anxious about that shift in winds coming later tonight.
Yeah, they definitely are, Hunter. Give us some good news about what could happen with this.
Well, unfortunately, it's not really good news. We're going to have a pretty breezy evening. Yesterday, it was that southerly wind that allowed the fire to spread quickly yesterday. Now tonight, with our strong cold front moving through, it's going to be a gusty north wind. We could have some 30 to 35 mile per hour wind gust. And of course, that north wind will come in with much colder air and a chance for some wintry precipitation tomorrow. The front is just now about to cross into the northern tier of our KVUE area, but ahead of it, we're still all in the 70s. It's 77 in Austin. But look at the cold air already filtering in for places like Dallas, up towards the Panhandle. Amarillo this afternoon has dropped down to 30 degrees. Now, there's almost no rain or storm chance right along the front as it moves through, with the exception being Fayette County, where we've seen a few storms developing over the past hour. And this will continue for the next hour or so until that front moves through and brings in that cooler air mass with it. But there's a low-end chance for a strong storm or two. You can see one of those storms now passing just east of Schulenburg.